Before the Hollywood scripted end of an illustrious yet somewhat ambivalent professional baseball career, Jim Gentile crawled to a first base in Japan after hitting one of his last lifetime home runs ever for the 1969 Osaka Kintetsu Buffaloes. Gentile tore an Achilles tendon as he began his familiar trot around the bases following a lights-out tower shot home run. Gentile would proceed to drag himself to a base he had defended since his early 1950s minor league days in Santa Barbara, California. After struggling to first base, a Kintetsu pinch runner would assist Gentile with logging his home run in the scorebook and, as well, assist with concluding a 17-year professional baseball career. Before the Kintetsu catastrophe, Jim Gentile had slugged 29 home runs for the Pacific Coast League San Diego Padres at the AAA level. Previous to enjoyment of eventual retirement and settling into the suburban community of Edmond, Oklahoma, Jim Gentile, historically known throughout the sports world as Diamond Jim, played 9 seasons of Major League Baseball from 1957 to 1966.
It's star slugger Jim Gentile against a pitcher who has a mind of his own. Here's the pitch. Jim Gentile hits one down the first baseline.
Go, Dad!
Hey, what team's this?
We're the Gentile team.
Fastest growing team in America.
What's big on the training table?
Post grape nuts flakes are big at our training table.
Why's that?
Because they're made of whole wheat and we know that's real good for you. Right, Steve?
Right, Dad.
How do you guys like the way they taste?
We like them best. Yeah, they got malt and honey in them.
Kids know the score. All that molten honey they put in grape nuts flakes makes them sweeter than any other wheat flakes. And they help keep my favorite team growing.
Come on, Scott.
So start your day a little bit better with the sweetest tasting wheat flakes ever.
They're real sweet.
Post grape nuts flakes.
Like the Gentiles, you'll start your day a little bit better when you start your day with the sweetest tasting wheat flakes ever. Post Grape Nuts Flakes.
Before the conclusion of Gentile's home run bashing MLB career, Diamond Jim hit his last Major League round tripper for the Cleveland Indians in the latter part of baseball's 1966 season. Prior to his trade to Cleveland in 1966, Gentile slammed a total of 24 home runs for the Kansas City Athletics and the Houston Astros, this in the 65 and 66 baseball seasons. Maintaining a well-deserved reputation as a power hitter with 28 home runs for the Athletics in 1964, Gentile had also proven himself to be one of the best fielders in the major leagues.
You have to learn how to play the bag. It takes time. You can get out there and you got to learn how to move your feet around, how to shift your feet on first base and be ready for every throw from shortstop or third base or second base. And another thing on ground balls, you have to know your hitters. You have to be able to stay down. You have the bigger glove, so you can be more of a one-handed first baseman than you can be if you played second or short.
Diamond Jim Gentile's prime career seasons were spent with the Baltimore Orioles in 1960, 61, 62, and 63. While hitting 124 over the fence and driving in 398 runs for the Orioles, Gentile, as well, maintained an immaculate fielding percentage of .990 at his first base position. Jim Gentile's pinnacle year of his storied baseball career came to fruition in 1961. Gentile hit 46 home runs and drove in a league-leading 141 runs while fielding first base at his standard superstar level average of .990.
Here's slugging first baseman Jim Gentile in the Baltimore Oriole batting cage, telling young Wendy Miller to keep his eye on the ball and his wrist firm. Now Wendy's up.
Keep swinging like that, Wendy, and you'll hit 300 anywhere. Hey, you still using that greasy kid stuff on your hair? Huh? You ought to switch to Vitalis. Keeps your hair neat all day without grease. Tell you what, use that greasy cream, and I'll use Vitalis. That's it. Rub it in good. Now comb it. Now let's look at your comb. Look at the grease on it. But not Vitalis. And Vitalis never feels greasy. Come on, get that greasy kid stuff out of your hair. Then get with Vitalis. Hey, that's more like it. Now your hair looks great.
Vitalis with V7 fights embarrassing dandruff, prevents dryness, keeps your hair neat all day without grease.
Diamond Jim's early 1960s glory days with Baltimore incited a six-time All-Star run for Gentile in 1960, 1961, and 1962. This from the golden baseball era when two All-Star games were played each season.
President John F. Kennedy takes time out from his executive duties to relax and enjoy baseball at its best. Handle on your left, and Jim Gentile provides some of the batting power for the American League. Willie Mays, the Giant superstar, has been a regular in this extravaganza since 1954. Roberto Clemente, last year's batting champ, enters today's contest with one of the hottest bats in baseball.
With the early 1960s serving as the superstar apex of Diamond Jim's career, he was selected, along with a few other legends of the time, to start as an all-star for Major League Baseball's annual Best of the Best showcase games.
Roger Maris. Mickey Mantle, an amazing story this year, will play right field. Mickey Mantle. Jim Gentile from the Baltimore Orioles will play first base. Jim Gentile.
You know, I just feel honored that when they talk about home runs, I get my name together with Mantle and Maris. It makes me feel good just to have my name mentioned in there.
Discovered at the heart of Jim Gentile's career highlight reel is the first ever back-to-back consecutive inning grand slams in one game against the Minnesota Twins on May 9th of 1961.
After I hit home plate and I come across, Paul Richards was standing at the dugout like he always does. And as I went by, he just said, "You know, son, I don't think that's ever been done before." And then, of course, by the time we got to the clubhouse, the newspaper guys were there and telling me all about it.
Diamond Jim not only smacked back-to-back slams in the season of 61, he added another 3 to make it 5 American League record-breaking, at the time, grand slams within one season. A super season of hitting nestled within 4 of Gentile's great Baltimore seasons, in which U.S. President John F. Kennedy witnessed one of his 124 Oriole round-trippers.
Then the pros take over as Don Rudolph pitches to Oriole Jim Gentile. Well, it's enough to kill a mockingbird. Up against the scoreboard for a home run. The president is strictly nonpartisan today as he cheers Gentile home. This puts Baltimore ahead, and the Birds are never headed for the rest of the game.
Sure that, every ball player dreams of. I have to say that. I never thought I'd ever have a year like that. I was looking if I could hit 20 home runs, 25.
Throughout his prime time in Baltimore, Gentile was a big hit. A hit that seemed to be lost in space and over time, but the Orioles would eventually enshrine Diamond Jim into their Hall of Fame in 1989. In 2010, the Orioles would make good on an old RBI leader bonus bargain. It took near 50 years for a researcher to research the fact that Gentile had indeed been a league leader, even up with Roger Maris's 141 RBIs in 1961. Prior to Gentile's all-stardom in Baltimore, his minor league baseball career was a mix of enjoyable experiences and struggles that included a couple of coffee sips in the major leagues. In 1959, he banged 27 home runs out of the park for the St. Paul Saints, the Triple-A farm club of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Although spending most of the 1958 season with the Pacific Coast League Spokane Indians, an eager Gentile played in 12 games with the MLB Dodgers, contributing to the new big league club in Los Angeles with 4 hits and 4 RBIs in his 30 plate appearances. Despite most of 1957 being spent with the Montreal Royals of the Independent League, an enthusiastic Gentile, as a rookie, would capture the first frame of his big league highlight reel with just 1 hit for the Brooklyn Dodgers. That 1 hit being a huge hit, his first Major League home run against the Phillies on September 22nd of 1957.
The captain, Reese, came over and said, Diamond, you're playing today. I said, no, I hit with the Screwbinis. He said, no, he's got you in the lineup. Well, we faced the Phillies, and we faced Robin Roberts. And I got safe on an error my first time, and the second time up, I took him upper deck center field in Ebbets Field.
As a rookie in 57, Gentile would also start the very last game ever played at historic Ebbets Field in Brooklyn, with the late Vin Scully recognizing the sadness of that time.
They played and they won the game, but there was no joy about the win. And eventually they moved on.
Gentile's 9 years in the minors produced a best year of 40 homers and a league-leading 115 RBIs with the Fort Worth Cats in 1956. Still yet to be known as Diamond Jim, he bounced around between Mobile and Pueblo while trying to earn his way to the show with the Dodgers.
The first couple of years when you're in the minors, you don't really think about it. You're just worried about trying to climb the ladder. And at 18, I started in A-ball, and I led the league in home runs. And I went to spring training, and the next year, and they sent me right back to A-ball. I started to figure out, oh, boy, this is going to be tough. Nobody moves, you don't move.
A very young Jim Gentile was signed by the Dodgers as a pitching prospect right out of San Francisco's Sacred Heart High School in 1952. Press reports indicated an approximate $50,000 signing bonus as he reported to the Class A League in Santa Barbara, California. Diamond Jim Gentile credits Orioles manager Paul Richards for giving him one chance to prove himself as a rookie in 1960.
He told me we had spring training, we had Bobby Boyd, we had Walt Dropo, we had John Powers, we had Boot Powell. We had 5 guys trying to make the first base, and I had a terrible spring, and I didn't think he was going to keep me. And Richards just said, I think I'll give you a chance. I'll give you 120 times at bat. You hit, you stay. You don't hit, I'm sending you back.
Without the gut instinct of Paul Richards, there would be no 46 home runs, 141 league-leading RBIs, and no .302 batting average for Gentile in what could be considered as the season of the century for Major League Baseball in 1961. That chance would be all the man known as Diamond Jim would need to prove himself as a great player and a great competitor at baseball's highest level. This was a very enjoyable project to research and complete. Mantle and Maris both had great years in 1961. But like Paul Richards, who focused on also the defensive aspects of a player, if you take a look at the defense in 61, in my mind, it brings Gentile right to an even level or maybe a little bit above both of those players. If you take a look at the stats, Gentile, fielding percentage of .989 that particular year. His average was like right at .990. Roger Maris was at .968. Mantle at .983, which is pretty good. But you take a look at the chances they had. Gentile at first base, 1,323 chances. So his percentage looks way better if you compare that to 284 chances for Roger Maris, 363 chances of making a good defensive play for Mantle. And there's just not a comparison there for defense. So all the focus was on home runs and the home run contest of beating Babe Ruth in 61 with 61 home runs, of course, Roger Maris. But Gentile's 46 home runs, .302 batting average, and 141 league-leading RBIs. It just can't be overlooked when you add his defense of a .990 fielding percentage. It's just amazing.